House will come to order. The pledge today will be led by Jesus Nunez, Arupe Jesuit High School, Denver, Colorado.
Join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good rest of your morning.
Yeah, you have this. Mr. Culler, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Becker J. Representative John Becker.
Representative J. Becker excused.
He's present.
Oh,
Becker K. Brown. Buck. Buckner. Carver. Conti. Corum. Court. Danielson. Del Grosso. Dorr. Duran. Esgar. Everett. Representative Everett.
Is he Representative Everett excused.
Fields. Foote. Garnett. Janal. Hamner.
Representative Humphrey excused.
Joshi. Kagan. Representative Kagan. Klingenschmidt. Kraft-Tharp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Lebsock. Representative Lebsock.
Representative Lebsock excused.
Lee. Leonard. Lontine. Lundeen. McCann. Melton. Mitch Bush. Moreno. Representative Moreno. Navarro. Neville. Nordberg. Pabon. Pedersen. Primavera. Priola. Rankin. Ransom. Rosenthal. Representative Rosenthal. Rupe. Ryden. Same. Salazar. Sias. Representative Sias. Singer. Thurlow. Tyler. Van Winkle. Vigil. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Windholes. Winter. Wist. Young. Madam Speaker. Representative Lebsock is present. Representative Everett is present.
With 64 present, 1 excused, a quorum is present. Representative Windholz.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the reading of the journal for the 26th day of April 2016 be dispensed with and that it be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You've heard the motion. The journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Announcements and introductions. And members, we're now moving into announcements and introductions. May we have your attention to the well. Take your side conversations to the side, please, and we will proceed with announcements and introductions. Representative Lawrence and Representative McCann.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, for those of you who remembered to pay your $5 so you could wear denim today, we will be giving you the reason why this is so important. And for those of you who wore denim and have not yet paid, Representative McCann has a box on her desk and mine will be back. We're trying to open it up so we can give people change. But the reason behind this was we're going to read you the story on why wearing denim today has such a significant meaning. In 1992, in a small town outside of Naples, Italy, a young woman accused her 45-year-old driving instructor of brutally raping her during a driving lesson. She told the police that he drove her to an isolated area, forced her out of the car, and raped her. He was convicted on lesser charges and later convicted on all charges by an appeals court in 1998. He was sentenced to 34 months in prison because the case made its way to the Italian High Court. There, the sentence was overturned based on the justice's belief that since the victim wore tight jeans that were not easily removed, she must have helped her rapist remove them. In a statement made by the chief judge, he argued, because the victim wore very, very tight jeans, she had to help him remove them, and by removing the jeans, it was no longer rape, but consensual sex.
Thank you. So, this decision outraged lawmakers and organizations not only in Italy but worldwide. Enraged by the verdict, the women in the Italian parliament launched into immediate action and protested by wearing jeans on the steps of the Italian parliament building. Immediately, this image spread, and in Sacramento, California, members of the California Senate and Assembly followed suit by wearing jeans on the steps of the Capitol. This was the beginning of what has now become a worldwide event and movement to wear jeans as a visible sign of protest against misconceptions that surround sexual assault. So today, state agencies, businesses, and other groups in Colorado are allowing employees to pay $5 in exchange for wearing jeans for Denim Day. It's a conversation starter and a visual sign of your support for survivors of sexual assault and the Colorado Coalition Against Sex Assault's mission to end violence, sexual violence. So the funds that you have donated, as well as those donated by other businesses, will directly support CCASA's, CCASA's advocacy work to ensure that survivors are supported, perpetrators held accountable, and that we are all engaged in bringing an end to sexual violence in Colorado communities. CCASA is the leader at the statewide level, serving as the collective voice of sexual assault victims and service providers in public policy initiatives, education, and training. Your money is going directly to help survivors, so we very much appreciate it. This example shows this continuing lack of understanding about sexual assault and thinking that victims are somehow responsible for it. So we really do appreciate all of your support. Even those of you who forgot to wear jeans, it's okay. You can still put your $5 in. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you. Colleagues, I'm going to cry, so just get ready. I've watched and listened as many of you bravely shared your stories with each other here at the Capitol. And at first I wondered why these stories from the well came. And I kept admiring people who did so freely and openly about growing up gay, surviving cancer, having a son murdered, and the hardship of farming and ranching life. Growing up healthy, middle class, and from a small city, I thought, I got nothing. Then last year, this day came up and I seized. My stomach turned over for a week, and I sat silent at my desk knowing that this is my story. I never shared it ever before with anyone outside my immediate family. These things are hard to talk about. Sexual assault is a unique crime in that the survivors carry shame with them forever. We don't talk about it. we're told it's too personal. You might make someone feel uncomfortable. Ick. After all, this crime has the word sex in it. And I just want you to know there's nothing sexy about this crime. These are brutal, violent, horrible assaults. Let me assure you, I was 27 years old and I was married. I was walking my dog at 10:30 in the morning. It's hard for me to talk about and remember that time, that day, that fight, that razor blade he had. Let me tell you how deeply this has been buried and the stigma and shame it causes a survivor. And now I'm ashamed to say it's taken me 24 years to stand up for others, to men and women who also survived. You've been generous and shared your stories, and you've let us get to know you. You've let Coloradoans know their representatives are just like them and shared experiences, both good and bad. We are representatives, just like our title strongly suggests. So now it's my turn to share and let the survivors of this crime know that we do indeed. We know your pain and we do indeed represent you. And from now on, I will work tirelessly to support you, fight against sexual assault, help people understand that survivors of this crime weren't asking for it. It's not our fault, and we're everywhere. We're your sisters, your mothers, your daughters, your brothers, your sons, your fathers, and your colleagues. Even if we don't talk about it quite yet. It took me 24 years. Thank you, colleagues, for being such good and trusted people that I finally felt comfortable and okay to say this out loud. You've given me strength and hope, and in turn, I want to give that strength and acceptance to others. Thank you for listening. Sweetie pie.
You're awesome.
Thank you, Representative Arndt. Further announcements and introductions. Representative Williams.
Quite the story.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, today is Delta Sigma Theta Alumni Denver Chapter Day at the Capitol, and they're a strong advocacy group in our community. And so if you would take a moment to welcome all of our friends from Delta Sigma Theta on each side of the chamber here. Please welcome them.
That's only a $2 fine, Representative Williams, and please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the Delta Sigma Theta ladies will be here all day, and so we encourage you to drop by one of the rooms down in the basement today to introduce yourself to our ladies and so they can meet their state representatives. Thank you.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Buckner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I too want to welcome the Delta Sigma Thetas to the House floor today. A few weeks ago, you all saw me up here in my pink because I'm an Alpha Kappa Alpha. But in the Greek community, especially with the African American Greek fraternities and sororities, we are all brothers and sisters no matter what sorority or fraternity we belong to. So I want to welcome those sisters again. Today, their theme is Advocacy in Action, the Power of the Black Vote. The Black community is definitely very strong in this area, and we get the Black vote out. So today, as Representative Williams said, if you get a chance, join them so you can talk to them about politics and how important it is to be an advocate for all votes, not just Black votes, but all votes. Thank you, sisters.
Representative Fields.
Good morning, Madam Speakers and members. I too want to extend a very warm welcome to the women of Delta Sigma Theta. I am also Greek, also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I just want you to know how I observe and admire your work in our community. You do some good work as it relates to your public service. Specifically, I love what you do as it relates to civic engagement. It's my understanding that we also have Colorado Black Women for Political Action also in the House, and I want to thank them for their work. I can remember when I was just, I guess you can say I was living on the margins of society, wasn't really civically engaged until one of my sorority sisters invited me to a CBWA luncheon. They host this Colorado Black Women for Political Action luncheon. They do this every year. I think it's been over 37 years. And it was at that luncheon I got actively engaged in politics. So I want to thank you for your service to our community, and thank you to the service to our state. We appreciate you being here today.
Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I too want to invite and thank my sorors for being here. As a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, I appreciate all the work that my sisters in Delta Sigma, that the Deltas do, and all the work that they do towards civic engagement. To see you all out there really promoting issues and telling people to get out and vote and turning out the vote is extremely important for our community. And I'm so glad and happy to see and be at your side as you continue to do that work. Thank you.
Representative Salazar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to welcome you here. I was telling one of the members that I was one of the founding fathers of the first Latino fraternity at CU Boulder, ever in the history of CU Boulder, Sigma Lambda Beta, and we could not have done it without the Black Greeks. A Phi A, Delta Sigma Theta, AKA, all you guys helped us out. And this year we celebrated our 25th anniversary. 25 years because you guys helped us out, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I'd also like to welcome our friends in Delta Sigma Theta sorority. My constituent, Dr. Faye Riceon, has been very active in the organization for many years and in a leadership capacity as well. And so I know that of some of the great projects and things that you all have done, and just by you being here sends a message already. Just showing up and being present and engaging us already is a tremendous message, and thank you for being here.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and members of the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee. Raise your hands. Show me you're listening.
Members, may we have your attention to the well for announcements?
Members, today we are in room 271 again, and we will be starting with the confirmation hearing for our Lieutenant Governor appointee, Donna Lynn. So I hope that we will all be there promptly, and perhaps the Majority Leader will make sure that we do have time to do our confirmation hearing today. And we'll see you in room 271 on adjournment. Thank you.
Further announcements. Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, you may or may not have noticed there's some new art that's been hanging in the basement, in the rotunda, near the Lieutenant Governor's office, over in LSB. And I am proud to let you know that this is the spotlight on Pueblo. Every piece of art that you see that's displayed right now through June, actually, is Pueblo artists. And Pueblo is growing our art community. And I just wanted to let you know that new artwork you see is Pueblo artists. So take notice. Thank you.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of Appropriations and those of you that wish you had a bill in appropriations, listen up. Tomorrow morning, the 28th, we will be having an appropriations meeting at 8:15 in the morning, LSBA. The bills that will be on the calendar are House Bill 1003, House Bill 1112, House Bill 1117, House Bill 1178, House Bill 1194, House Bill 1222, House Bill 1376, Senate Bill 124, and Senate Bill 192. Senate Bill 192 is committee of reference. Thanks, members.
Further announcements. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, listen up. Tomorrow is going to be a long day. We're going to have several bills to review on seconds. And so just so you know, what the plan is we'll do seconds in the morning and then see how far we get. And if we still have bills to get through, we are planning on doing those bills after committees are done for the day tomorrow night. So the choice was either tomorrow night or go long on Friday. And it seems that it will be better to go long tomorrow night. So for dinner plans, I would make sure that you have dinner plans, either aides to bring in your dinner or perhaps maybe there's caucus chairs who will work on this. So just once again, tomorrow is going to be a very long day and we're going to work tomorrow night. Also, the 2016 benefits, your health benefits, there's open enrollment. It starts the 26th and goes through May 16th. This year's open enrollment is passive. If you don't have any changes during open enrollment, your fiscal year 15-16 elections will roll over to 16-17, except for your participation in a flexible spending account. So you must enroll in a FSA before open enrollment closes on Monday, May 16th. To make any changes, you go to benefitssolvers.com. Thank you.
Are there further announcements and introductions? Seeing none, the next order of business is third reading, final passage of bills. Members, please take your seats. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1368.
House Bill 1368, Representative Tyler, also Senator Martinez-Humana, concerning the codification of current practice for the management of records of governmental agencies.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And now with the Senate sponsor, I move House Bill 1368. Move for the passage of House Bill 1368 on third reading and final passage.
Hallelujah. The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1368. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 38 ayes and 26 noes, plus 1 excused, House Bill 1368 is passed. Co-sponsors. Any co-sponsors for persistence there? Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1388.
House Bill 1388 by Representative McCann, also Senators Merrifield and Guzman, concerning the timing of inquiring into a job applicant's criminal history.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1388 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of House Bill 1388 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 35 ayes, 29 noes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1388 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1378.
House Bill 1378 by Representative General Senator Crowder, concerning requiring courts to collect money from DUI offenders for the purpose of reimbursing law enforcement agencies for the cost of performing chemical tests.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1378 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of House Bill 1378 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 53 ayes, 11 noes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1378 is passed. Co-sponsors. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 132.
Senate Bill 132 by Senator Cook, also Representative Foote, concerning clarifying the test results relating to certain DUI offenses are not public information.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 132 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of Senate Bill 132 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 64 ayes, no noes, and 1 excused, Senate Bill 132 is passed. Co-sponsors. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1347.
House Bill 1347 by Representative Danielson, also Senator Ulibarri, concerning the release of information concerning employers' violation of wage laws by the Division of Labor and the Department of Labor and Employment.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1347 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of House Bill 1347 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 47 ayes, 17 noes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1347 is passed. Co-sponsors. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1436.
House Bill 1436 by Representatives Pabon and Janal, also Senators Newell and Baumgartner, concerning prohibition on edible marijuana products that are shaped in a manner to entice a child.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Despite the fact we did not get the Thelma amendment on, I still move House Bill 1436 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of House Bill 1436 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and vote for Thelma, please. Close the machine. With 50 ayes, 14 noes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1436 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. The next order of business is general orders, second reading of bills. Representative Rosenthal.
Madam Speaker, I move the House now resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders.
You have heard the motion without objection. Representative Rosenthal will take the chair.
1437.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read at length. Read by title, unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Sorry, Corey. Mr. Kohler. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the coat rule is hereby relaxed. Okay. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill. Oh, somebody. Oh, Madam Majority Leader.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1426 by two bills.
The House Bill 1426 will be laid over two bills as requested by the Majority Leader. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1437.
House Bill 1437, Representatives Mitch Bush and Wilson, concerning the assessment of penalties for school bus stop arm violations.
To the committee report. Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1437 and the committee report.
To the committee report, Representative
Thank you,
Mitch Bush.
Mr. Chair. I move L003, which is an amendment to the committee report,
All right.
and ask that it be displayed.
Amendment L003 is properly before us and displayed. Please proceed, Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. L003 amends the committee report to add circumstances of the alleged violation and the identity of the alleged violator. This was necessary because there had been discussion and some promises that I made to committee members that we would focus on the actual identity of the driver. So this is part of that. You'll see another amendment later which focuses from the bill to the driver. But at this point, this is the amendment that we're putting forth to the committee report. I would urge an aye vote on the amendment to the committee report.
Is there any further discussion about Amendment L003 to the committee report? Seeing none, all those in favor of I call the question. All those in favor of Amendment L003, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Amendment L003 to the committee report passes. To the committee report, Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had already moved it. Would you like me to move it again?
Negative. Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, all those in favor of the committee report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill focuses on a real problem in current statute that makes enforcement of school bus stop arm violations very difficult, if not close to impossible. Thus, I would move to the bill L006 and ask that it be displayed, please.
Amendment L006 is displayed properly before us. To the amendment, Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment is an attempt on our part to deal with a series of questions that were brought up by members during the Transportation Committee, but also subsequent to it. The particular concern was, well, what about the person who lends their car to someone else and that other person then runs the school bus stop arm? It isn't fair, nor should it be, for the driver to incur points or to be blamed for that. I'm sorry, for the owner of the car, for the owner of the car. We want to focus on the violator, the driver. So let me explain this amendment. The penalty assessment notice, as you see on line 3 of this amendment, which refers to page 2, line 8 of the bill as passed out of committee, that adds additional information by saying that the penalty assessment notice to the driver or registered owner of the vehicle involved in the violation. Then as you move on down to line 5 of the amendment, that too focuses on page 2 of the bill, beginning on strikes 9 and 10, and says, and this is critical for the concerns that people raised, substitutes information that is obtained from any person, and verified by law enforcement. What this speaks to is the usual practice in law enforcement, wherein if there is a complaint about anything, whether it's an assault, whether it's a potential drunk driver, whether it is another crime, a property crime or a person crime, a witness may report it to the police or to the sheriff's office, and at that point, the sheriff's office interviews that witness to determine if there is probable cause and to determine if that witness is in fact verifiable, if that witness can be relied on. So that's why that lines 5 and 6 is there. Then lines 8 through 13. There was a concern raised in our committee that it would be possible for the owner of a car who was not driving it, who was not the violator, to be assessed points. This lines 8 through 13 of the amendment clarifies that those points would not be assessed, nor, by the way, would they be assessed to anyone under this part of the statute. Now, to clarify, points are already assessed in current statute when one of two conditions exists. That's current statute, okay? In current statute, if a police officer witnesses the violation, and the person's then found guilty of it, points may be assessed. The second condition, and this is the difficult one that we will speak to in a moment in current statute, and that is if the bus driver cannot for sure identify the person, then that person cannot be charged. So this makes sure that someone who is actually innocent because they weren't even driving doesn't get points. I urge a yes vote on Amendment L006.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L006? Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my question is the amendment looks like it's moving in the right direction until we get to about lines 9, and then it still says they can issue a citation on the basis of information. It doesn't say that they require another person to verify it, so it's just information. And if they issue a citation based on just information, they can still issue a fine but not points. So my question is, that still open up the ability for them to use these stop arm cameras to just issue a fine? Granted, they won't be able to issue points, but they can still issue the fine.
One moment, Representative. If we could have quiet in the chamber, it will help us with our debate. Thank you. Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Neville. And I don't think my explanation was clear enough. This section in this amendment, if you look at other than that, supplied under subparagraph 1 of paragraph B of this subsection, that's current statute. That's what's required under current statute, which is, again, that an officer see it and be able, of course, to identify the actual driver. In other words, the officer sees the violation, or that the school bus driver has successfully filled out the required form that we talked about in committee, which includes verification of the identity, a description of not only the car, the make, the model, the license plate, but the person who was driving it. So that section there refers back to the part of current statute that we are not changing. So that's under current law.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Neville. Also, the amendment in the committee report also pointed out the information to be gathered.
Is there any further conversation about this amendment?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Representative Melton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I rise in support of Amendment L006 and appreciate the sponsors on working with us on this amendment. We wanted to try to make sure we got away from being able to capture this information by electronic means. I believe that that's addressed now in line 6 of this amendment, that the information has to be obtained by any person. And so by it being obtained by a person and then verified by law enforcement, I believe that we've now narrowed this bill down in order to achieve the objective that the sponsors are looking for. With that, members, I would ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion about this amendment? Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, but I still think that the other than that just refers to the actual ability to take away points. So I think this still allows the information to be supplied to law enforcement to issue a citation. They just can't do the points. Am I not reading that correctly?
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you again, Representative Neville, for helping us to clarify this. This is a very confusing part of current statute. And again, I'm not even going to refer to the wording there, but I went over it with the drafter very carefully because I wanted to make sure we got at this issue that you just raised. So what this does essentially is says that if a driver is identified under current statute, that is either by an officer who witnesses it and has that information on the driver, or by the school bus driver being able to fully fill out the form, which rarely happens because, as you know, the school drivers bus drivers are busy, that under that, you could still be assessed points. If, on the other hand, we're using this mechanism wherein any person has supplied the verifiable information to a law enforcement officer, you cannot assess points, but the fines could potentially be assessed if the person is found guilty.
Is there any further discussion about Amendment L006? Seeing none, the question before us is Amendment L006. All those in favor of L006, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. To the bill, Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, if I could have your attention for a moment here to the well, I want to make sure that you understand the one thing that you should learn from this bill. In the state of Colorado, there are about 8,000 buses that run daily. 8,000 buses that run daily. What this bill points out is the fact that the statute for violating the stop arm is unenforceable. Unenforceable. Please pay attention to this statistic. From January 1, 2013 to December 31, 2015, 3 years, there were 33 convictions of the stop arm violation. That's less than half of 1%. How often does this occur? How often does this violation occur? They assessed 951 bus drivers in one day. 950 bus drivers in one day. 646 violations occurred in one day. If you multiply that out across the number of bus driver routes, that's about 103 violations, 103,000 violations that could occur amongst those routes. This bill helps to enforce the stop arm. And I'll conclude this bill summary by saying this. You understand what a bus stop arm does. It stops traffic from both ways so that children can cross the road and enter the bus. 651 times in one day, vehicles went by the bus while students were attempting to load. Does this bill fix the total problem? No. But at least it gives us the opportunity to enforce the violations that are occurring each and every day. And I, for one, don't want to stand in this chamber and tell you we should have addressed this when a child gets run over with a school bus. You will hear people talking about, well, people might not be able to stop within that 20 feet of a school bus. Those of you that have followed a school bus know the caution lights come on long before the stop arm goes out. But in our society, we are geared to where as long as the caution light's showing, hammer to the metal, get by it, and that's going to cost our children's lives. I urge an aye vote on this bill.
One moment, Representative. Members, if we might have quiet in the chamber, we might be able to hear Representative Neville when he comes up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I think the amendments gets us in the appropriate direction, but I still don't think it gets us there. As I read that and think about it further, I think any person may supply the information to law enforcement. Right now, current law requires the person actually be a party to the infraction. This would say any person could provide that information to law enforcement, and then law enforcement can issue a citation based upon the information. So could that be a representative from the company of the red light camera that's issuing the citation and possibly maybe even getting some of that money back? I don't know. I think that opens that up. I think that if we were going to move in the right direction, we at least require the person be an actual witness to the violation, but I don't think this bill does it. I think this just says any person can bring information. I think that information is the camera. And what we've seen in other states, we've seen these stop arm cameras, like in Dallas, for instance, we saw a huge lawsuit. There was a big revenue. They were making about $11 million off of these stop arm cameras in Dallas. And what we found out is 2/3 of the violations were actually thrown out, because what they found out is the stop arms were going out, the cameras were going so quickly, people didn't even have time to stop. And so we are seeing in Colorado law, there's a requirement too that people have to stop 20 feet prior to the bus. I think a lot of people don't know that law exists, so I think we'll see some of the same issues we see with current red light cameras, where people might slightly drive over the line, they get a photo of that taken, and then they're issued a citation. I think I still have concerns that we could see the same thing here in Colorado, that maybe they stop 18 feet prior to the bus, and the camera catches them, and then they get issued the fine. So I appreciate the sponsors trying to work in the right direction, but I still have concerns with this bill. Thank you.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Neville. Somewhere I must have missed it. I didn't see the stop arm lights in this bill. Folks, it's pretty simple. What we're doing right now is not working. To do nothing puts our children at risk. This is a different deal than a stoplight camera in an intersection where if the cars go through, you've got airbags and seat belts. When a violator goes by a stop arm on a school bus, it's the child. It's the child. I urge an yes vote.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Neville. I would again like to clarify, the amendment doesn't just say any person. It says from any person that is verified by law enforcement. That is the key. And I understand there are lots of concerns that innocent people might be caught in a net. That is not what this bill is doing. It's very precise about that it must be a person and that information must be verified by law enforcement. And as Representative Wilson so eloquently said, this bill will not solve all the problems, but it will begin to protect our children. Thank you. I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1426. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. My apologies. The 1430. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1437. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. House Bill 1437 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1374 and House Bill 1426 until the end of the second reading calendar.
House Bill 1426 and House Bill 1374 will be laid over till the end of the calendar pursuant to...
That's okay. Just to clarify, it's House Bill 1374 and House Bill 1426, which means the next bill that would be up is House Bill 1362.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. So House Bill 1374 and 1426 will be laid over as requested by the Majority Leader. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1362.
House Bill 1362 by Representative Young concerning the transfer of the functions of the License Plate Auction Group to the Colorado Disability Funding Committee.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1362 and the committee report from the Appropriations Committee.
Thank you, Representative Young. To the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In appropriations, we actually did a multi-page amendment that was a result of quite a bit of work with stakeholders and the department in order to further streamline this program and bring it to a point of what we believe to be a good, successful program. And so I urge your aye vote on the committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none. The question before us is dispatched to the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this bill is a bill that actually, this program was first started back in 2011. And it's really a great program. The concept behind it is that we're going to auction or sell license plates like the vanity plates, and as a result of that auction, that we gather money from the sale or auction and use that to help people in the disabilities community in a number of different ways. Primarily, we want to help them apply and get the SSI or SSDI benefits that are entitled to. A lot of people who have disabilities and may be homeless, we've heard, without assistance, maybe have a 10% rate of success in applying for those services. We were told in committee that that goes up to 60% when there's guidance, and the funds that come from the sale or auction of these plates actually result in support services for those folks. We also will have grants that go to innovative programs to help people with disabilities. This program has been in operation, but this bill is an effort to streamline that operation and make it work even better. So I ask for your aye vote.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Young, this issue first came to my attention when I was first elected. That's 4 years ago. And I'm trying to figure out why it keeps coming up and yet nothing gets done. In 4 years, they haven't had their auction, and I wanted to ask, I didn't get over to get the bill, what is the appropriation on this?
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the questions, Representative Landgraf. Actually, the appropriation on the bill, and I'm not looking at the actual figures, it's not general fund. It's cash funds from the funds that are going to be accumulating from the sale and auction of these plates. And there is some money already in that fund, and so I think we have enough to do the compensate the department for the administrative costs that it takes to make sure they're in compliance with our different processes within the state. This, as you asked and mentioned, this program has been around for a while. They actually have had some success auctioning. One of the places I was told is the letter X. and they auctioned it, and they actually auctioned it for about $20,000. So we know that the proof of concept works, but I think that the original structure that was set up was too complex, and it didn't result in actually moving from a proof of concept to actual operation on a regular basis. And so the work, I've only been involved with this program for the last couple of years. Representative Brown and I tried to streamline a little bit last year, and we didn't quite get there. And so instead of pushing through a bill that wouldn't achieve those goals, we pulled back, and we've worked on it this year. And we think we finally got everybody on the same page, and we have a streamlined program, not two different committees, but just one that actually streamlined the program. So I can't speak for the other years that you're questioning, but for the last couple, I think we've finally got it to a good place.
One moment, Representative. Representatives, if we could just please keep the conversations down, that would be very helpful. Thank you. Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So who manages the money, and where is that money now?
Representative Young. Oh, are you?
That makes sense? Yes, yes.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And there is a committee that will manage the money, but it'll be done within the Department of Public Administration. And so they will have to conform with the procurement rules and laws that we have in the state and the accounting processes that we have. So there's oversight in that regard. They do contract out for an auction company to actually perform those. Those monies are transferred into the fund that's created in the bill. And part of those monies will be used for reimbursing the department for their administrative work to make sure that we're in compliance with all the rules of the state of Colorado. It's kind of a tricky thing because, you know, a nonprofit completely separate or a private entity completely separate from the state can't do this because they're auctioning Colorado property. And so there's that intersection between a committee that wants to do good work, but the laws and the rules that we have to comply with in the state of Colorado to make sure this is done correctly.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion about House Bill 1362? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1362. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. House Bill 1362 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1398.
House Bill 1398, Representatives Young and Landgraf, concerning the requirement that the Department of Human Services use request for proposal process to contract with an entity to implement recommendations of the Respite Care Task Force.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1398 and the committee report for Public Health and Healthcare and Human Services Committee report and the
Appropriations.
Appropriations report.
To the Appropriations report. Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In appropriations, we did a couple of things here. The main thing that we did was to not fund this from general funds, but instead fund it through a cash fund called the Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Services Cash Fund. And the fiscal note indicated that that the department thought that this was going to take several years and about $2.2 million. But what we are doing is we are applying $900,000 out of the IDD Services Cash Fund with roll forward ability over 2 years. And we think that that's enough for them to get the work done that they need to get done. So that's the limits we put on this through Appropriations Committee, and I ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion about the Appropriations report? Seeing none, the question before us is the approval of the Appropriations report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The Appropriations Committee report has passed. To the Public Health, Care, and Human Services report, Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Public Health and Human Services report did a couple of things. One, it removed the requirement that the organization that gets the RFP have a role with the Colorado Respite Coalition, broadening it to be presence in Colorado. And then it did some cleanup language, and then it changed the appropriations to what Representative Young said. Ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the committee report, Public Health Care and Human Services. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The bill enacts, last year we had a respite care study. This bill enacts the recommendations from that committee, excuse me. So it does, basically, what it's aimed to do is put into place the services. I think you're gonna have to talk.
Thank you, Representative Young. Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While Representative Landgraf is getting rid of that frog in her throat, washing it down. Yeah, as she mentioned, there's a task force that made a series of recommendations, some studies, some training, some work to create an infrastructure that we need in the state of Colorado for respite care. I personally have experienced this. My wife and I needed to have some respite care when we were caring for my sister, and discovered that there just aren't enough providers out there. And you know, when you need respite care in a real critical situation and you're very stressed out as a caregiver and you can't find it, bad things can result. And so the dilemma we have right now is we have a large number of agencies that are trying to work together as a coalition to provide more respite care, but we just don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to make that happen. And this bill, while it does take some funds to do that, allows us to create that infrastructure so that we can actually be responsive to people when they call and they need respite care. They can get it and get quality care.
Representative Landgraf.
We ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1398? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1398. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no.
Sorry,
House Bill 1398 passes.
but still waiting for Stephanie.
One moment, Madam Majority Leader. Just to notify Representative Del Grosso, your nameplate has been inverted. You might want to switch it so that it's right side up. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's that time of session. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow. April 28th.
The Majority Leader is requested to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, April 28th. It will be laid over as requested by the Majority Leader. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The committee will rise and report as requested.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Kohler, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, Committee of the Whole begs reports on the consideration of following attached bills being second reading. The makes following recommendations are on House Bill 1362, Amendment 1398, Amendment 1437, Amendment passed on second reading, nor grossly so on the counter for third and final passage.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the House adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
You have heard the motion, and there are no amendments. The question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine, and members proceed to vote. Representatives Buck, Lawrence, Lebsack, Lee, Pedersen, Priola, Sias, Willett, and Wilson. Close the machine with 64 ayes, no noes, and 1 excuse. The report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, you heard the plan for tomorrow from our majority leader, and I just want to say to all of my colleagues on this side of the aisle, we will provide dinner for the caucus tomorrow evening.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Landgraf.
Members on this side, tomorrow we have our aides and interns lunch, and then tomorrow night we'll have dinner provided here, well, there.
I like that.
Representative Williams.
Thank you. Members of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee, just to give you a notice that tomorrow we will add House Bill 161455 to the agenda. Thank you.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Court.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Finance Committee, we're changing our order slightly this afternoon. 1433 will be heard first, and Senate Bill 116 will be heard second, and then the rest is in order. So we're just changing the first two around. Thank you.
Representative Sane and Representative Fields and Representative Lebsack. Please proceed in what order you prefer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of local government, as you know, we have 14 days left until we conclude the session, so I am hosting lunch today for all of those of you who are members of local government. We do not have any bills up today, so lunch is on me at 1:30 at Racine's.
No. City Grill.
City Grill.
That's one good way not to have to pay for lunch, you know. Representative Sane.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and just wanted to thank Representative Fields for her chairmanship of the Local Government Committee, and be delighted to have her meeting at 1:30 at City Grill at 1:30. Thank you so much.
Further, Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of Appropriations and members here in the House, I want to add two more bills for tomorrow morning's 8:15 Appropriations meeting. Those two bills are House Bill 1209 and House Bill 1454. Thank you.
Members, could we have more quiet, please, at the well? Please proceed, Representative Priola.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, Concrete Day at the Capitol is going to be rescheduled for May 5th, Friday, May 5th. You might have seen these flyers for this coming Friday, April 29th, but the weather folks are saying it's going to snow, so they're going to reschedule it for Friday, May 5th.
Representative McCann.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Those of you who wore denim today, we would like to take a picture as soon as we recess. If you want to come down here in the well, we'll take a picture. Thanks.
Further announcements and introductions. Seeing none, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, again, I just want, because some people came and asked me the question, so please listen up. Please listen up. Tomorrow, we are going to work late. So please make sure your schedule permits you to be here. We're going to come back after committees adjourn, and we will be working late tomorrow night. So with that, I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until April 28th.
The motion is to lay over the balance of the calendar until April 28th. Seeing no objection, so ordered. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today at 1:30 p.m.
The motion is to stand in recess until later today at 1:30 p.m. Seeing no objection, we are in recess.